Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel and welcome to day 2 of our Soap Making for Beginners mini-series. I'm Anne and along with my friend Wayne we run the Sussex Handmade Soap Company and we upload regular videos to this channel. This mini-series is running over 8 days at the moment. Might be slightly more, might be slightly less, but we're envisaging it to be 8 days of tutorials that are going to help absolute beginners to be able to make their very first loaf of soap. We are on day 2 today. Yesterday we focused on equipment that you would need to enable you to make soap, and today we are focusing on lye. Lye is a crucial ingredient for making soap, but it is also a relatively dangerous ingredient to be working with. So we want to cover lye in detail, safety steps, precautions, what it is, so that you feel a little bit more confident to be working with it. So we'll start at the very beginning. What is lye? Now I could try and describe for you in my own words what lye is, but I thought it would probably be a lot simpler and a lot easier to understand if I just asked Google. So I have asked Google what lye is, and Google tells me that a lye is a metal hydroxide traditionally obtained by leaching wood ashes or a strong alkali which is highly soluble in water, producing caustic basic solutions. So there you go, now you know what lye is. We are using sodium hydroxide as our lye. You can also find potassium hydroxide, which is also known as lye. Do not confuse the two. Potassium hydroxide tends to be used for making liquid soaps, whereas sodium hydroxide is used for making solid bar soaps. If you purchase the wrong lye and start trying to use potassium hydroxide to make a solid bar soap, it will not work. So make sure that you are purchasing sodium hydroxide. Now, one question people often ask is, can you make soap without lye? And in short, the very simple answer is no. You absolutely cannot make soap without lye. Anybody who tells you that they've used soap that's made without lye doesn't know what they're talking about or is lying. There is no way to make a true soap without lye. It's just not scientifically possible. You will get companies advertising their pH neutral cleansing bars and things like that. You will notice they never refer to their cleansing bars by the word soap because they can't, because it is not soap. So if you want soap, you have to use lye. There is no way around it. Even things like melt and pour soaps that you can buy in kit form and melt down, you might be saying to me now, well, they haven't got lye in them. That is because the lye has already been incorporated. You are essentially melting down pre-made soap, adding in your own ingredients and solidifying it again. Melt and pour soap, it's a great thing, but it already had lye incorporated into it. It is not lye free. You are just not manually adding the lye yourself. So, soap can't be made without lye. That's it. Now, because lye is a dangerous chemical, I want to spend quite a lot of time discussing safety with you. You can get chemical burns from lye. Because it is so alkaline, it can burn you. It can burn you when it is dry. It is more likely to give you worse burns when it is wet and it has been incorporated with water, but it can still burn you when it is in its dry form. It also gives off a lot of heat. When you've combined it with water, you can get up to temperatures of over 200 degrees Fahrenheit. So it is not a great substance to be using if you're not quite sure what you're actually doing. So let's focus on some very important safety rules for lye that you should always follow every time you are making soap. Do not skip the rules because you are working with a dangerous chemical, and should the worst happen and there be an accident, you want to know that you've taken all the safety precautions that you can and you are minimising risk wherever possible. So, number 1, when working with lye, always, always, always wear protective clothing. You want to be wearing long sleeves. You want to be wearing gloves. We wear these little latex gloves, or at least I do. Wayne wears a nice pink pair of rubber gloves, which if you saw yesterday's video, you will have seen. I wear these little latex gloves. You also want closed-toed shoes, just in case you get any splashes and they land on your feet. And you want goggles. Goggles the most important safety item, I would say, without any shadow of a doubt. You get one set of eyes and lye, in the eye, it could blind you. You do not want that to happen. So always, always, always wear goggles. So goggles, gloves, long sleeves, closed-toed shoes. Next on the list is if you have children or pets in your house, make sure that they are well out of the way when you are using your lye. Do not have them in the same room as you. If you can, make soap when they are not even in the house, if that is at all possible. If not, then just make sure they are in a separate room. If it's children who are old enough to actually be able to understand, make sure they know what you are doing so they know not to be rushing in and out of the room. If they are younger children, perhaps they are not old enough to understand that, just make sure that perhaps there is another adult to be taking care of them so that you can make the soap without any distractions. And as for pets, I say just make sure they are out of the room, the door is shut and they can't come charging in. And again, if you have children or pets in your house, or even perhaps vulnerable adults, make sure your lye, when you are not using it, is safely locked away in a cupboard, lock it up high, out of sight, and kept away from anybody who could potentially come to harm if they find your lye and get hold of it. So lock the lye away when it's not being used, if it is likely to come into contact with people who could be vulnerable. Now, when you are actually making up your lye solution, you will need to tip your lye into your water. It is very important to never ever tip your water into your lye. This is an absolute no-no because the action of tipping the water into the lye can create such an explosive reaction. It can bubble up, the fumes can come up, it is just, it'll volcano up at you potentially if you tip water into lye. So it is always lye into water and never, ever, ever the other way round. And when you are producing your lye solution, what you want is a lot of ventilation. As I said earlier, the lye will heat up, and when it heats up, it will also release fumes. And those fumes are not nice fumes, so step back, don't breathe them in. They can be really irritating for your throat and your lungs, so do all you can to not breathe in the fumes. If you want to wear a mask, by all means, wear a mask. Ventilation is the key, so if you can, prepare your lye solution by an open window or have an extractor fan turned on. We personally prepare our lye over in our sink, which is right next to a nice large window and an extractor fan. So we have our window open and our fan on when we're preparing our lye, and that helps to just draw away those horrible fumes from us, which is good, because I promise you they're not nice fumes. You don't want to be breathing them in. If you do want to limit the fumes, you can actually, instead of using 100% water, you can use a mix of ice and water for your lye solution. Because this is a beginner's video, we're not going to go into that or really cover that, but for perhaps those of you who do take this a bit further and learn a bit more and carry it on as a hobby, using ice instead of water will actually keep the solution cooler and will minimise the fumes that are coming off of your lye solution. But I say for today we will be preparing with water. On that note, make sure that the water that your lye is being tipped into is cold water. You don't want to be tipping lye into hot water, so always cold water. And when you are preparing your lye solution and you are using your jug to prepare your lye solution, make sure that your jug is either made from stainless steel or it is made from plastic with either recycling code number 5 or recycling code number 2 on the base. So that is HDPE, which is higher density polyethylene, or it is PP, which is polypropylene. Those are the 3 materials that I would recommend for soap making. I wouldn't recommend any other materials for soap making. If you use any other metal that is not stainless steel, for example aluminium, the lye can react with the metal and it will release fumes and it will bubble and it will not be good. And if you use something like glass, even Pyrex, over time the lye can actually etch away at the inside of the glass and can cause it to suddenly shatter without you even realising that there's anything wrong with that glass. One day it can suddenly just shatter and break on you, which is not great if you're dealing with lye, which is already dangerous enough on its own. You don't want to be adding broken glass into that mix. So use plastic recycling codes number 2 or 5, or use stainless steel for mixing your lye. And that goes for the utensils that you're using to stir your lye with as well. We use a stainless steel spoon to stir our lye mix with. And on the note of jugs and utensils and things like that, once they have been used for lye, that is their only purpose in life. You do not want to be using items that have been used for lye for food or for anything else. I say, once it has found its purpose in life as a lye jug or a lye spoon or a lye bowl, that is its sole purpose in life forever. Do not take any kind of utensils or jugs that have been used with lye and then use them for food. Store them away from food, store them away from your other utensils, and keep them for lye and soap making use only. Now, should the worst happen and you end up splashing some lye somewhere on your skin, or getting a burn, there are a couple of things you need to do. And there are a couple of things you don't need to do. The first thing you do not do, and you may have seen this or you may see it as being recommended, you do not want to use vinegar on a lye burn. It is an absolute no, 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 no. Although the vinegar will neutralise the neutralise the alkali of the lye, it will actually make the burn worse as it's going to react. The acid from the vinegar is going to react with the alkalinity of the lye, and it's actually going to make any burn you've got worse before it neutralises it. So no matter what anyone tells you, do not use vinegar or any other kind of acid solution to try and neutralise a lye burn on your skin. What you do want to do is wash it with a lot of water, flush the area with plenty of water, and also check the safety data sheet for the lye that you have purchased. If you've purchased your lye from a soap making store, there will likely be a safety data sheet that you can download. So you can download this and print it off, and it will tell you what to do in case of getting it on your skin. This is just 2 pages. The safety data sheet for my lye is 9 pages long, but I've printed out the 2 relevant pages. And this safety data sheet basically covers what to do if it's swallowed, if it's in your eyes, and on page 2 it goes into slightly more detail of what to do with skin contact, eye contact, inhalation, ingestion. It covers everything about what to do if you have had an accident with your lye. So it is a good idea to at least familiarise yourself with the safety precautions and things to do if you do have an accident. Now, what I've said about vinegar not being able to be used on the skin is, hugely important. However, should you splash some lye on your surfaces, then you can use a small amount of vinegar on a sponge to neutralise a surface area. So vinegar can be used to neutralise and help clean, surfaces, sinks. You just don't want to be using it on skin. It is great for neutralising and cleaning up anywhere else, just not skin. Now, I have seen lots of people pre-making lye so they can use it at a later date. And that is something that is great. It is more than possible to do that. However, it is not something that we personally do. So we're not going to be discussing pre-making lye because it's not something we're familiar with. And we're trying to teach you guys what we know and show you what steps we take. So it would not make sense, and it wouldn't be sensible or even really safe for us to try and advise you on how to pre-make lye for use at a later date when we don't do that ourselves. So if you are interested in pre-making your lye and using it at a later date, there are a load of people out there who do that and have done tutorials on how to do that. So yeah, I'm afraid you'll have to go away from this video and go and hunt out one of them if that's what you want to do, because yeah, we're not going to be showing you pre-making lye in this video. Now, when it comes to buying lye, you have a number of options. You can either go online and go to a soap maker's store and purchase lye, which is what we do, and we shall put some links in the description to a few suppliers of lye that we have used in the past. Or you could also look at going to a hardware store. So we're talking like a B&Q, a Wickes, somewhere like that, because lye can also be used as a drain cleaner. And because of that, it is often sold in hardware stores. If you are purchasing from a hardware store, just a word of caution, make sure that you check the ingredients on the lye and that it is 100% pure lye and that it hasn't been mixed with anything else, because not all of the lye sold in hardware stores is 100% pure, and for soap making you need that purity. So by all means buy from a hardware store, but do check those ingredients and check that you are purchasing pure lye. As I say, alternatively you can buy it online from the soap maker stores. The shipping will often be a little on the high side because they, as responsible companies, have to make sure that the lye is shipped in a manner that it is allowed to be. Because it is a dangerous chemical, there are shipping restrictions on it, so you may be paying slightly more in postage than you would want to be paying, but that is because they have to follow the rules of the couriers and whatnot, so it might be slightly high on the shipping, but there's nothing we can do about that. So I think we have covered the majority of the safety steps for making lye. So I think it is time for us to actually show you how we make up lye so that you guys can follow the steps and create your lye water to be using in your bar of soap. So because we are now going to be getting the lye out and handling it, I need my safety equipment. So when I said safety equipment, I of course meant my protective equipment. So that is my gloves. I have got my long sleeves on, I have got my goggles, and I have also tied my hair up because I have long hair. If you want to wear a hairnet and take it one step further, that's cool too. I just tend to just tie mine up out of the way. So we're all ready to make our lye water. So as you guys know, on day 5 we are going to be showing you how to make a lavender soap. So today we are making up the lye, and I'm using the amount of lye and water that you are going to need if you follow our recipe on day 5. So if you've been at day 5 and you've come to watch us preparing our lye now, we are using the amounts you are going to need to make day 5's recipe. And that is 221 grams of water here in a plastic jug. And we have got here 110 grams of lye already weighed out. Sorry, 110.5 grams of lye already weighed out. And we have got our gloves on, we have got our long sleeves, and we have got our goggles on. Now what you want to do is very carefully, and I've got my stainless steel spoon for mixing, you want to very carefully and slowly tip your lye into your jug, scraping it down and getting all of that lye in there. And we have got an extractor fan which we normally have turned on, but I haven't today just because it's noisy and you won't be able to hear me. We have also got a window that I can open if I need more ventilation. And you are just going to be stirring your lye solution with your stainless steel spoon until that lye dissolves nicely. And I'm just going to open our window now. So I'm standing back from the lye, my head is not over it, I am not breathing it in. My window is open and I've got plenty of ventilation, and as soon as I've stopped talking I'm going to be turning on the extractor fan too. So you just want to stir the lye until it has dissolved, and then what I do is I actually fill up my sink with cool water, and we find that helps the lye to cool down quicker. So we have now got our jug sat in our sink in some nice cool water, and hopefully, like I say, that will help it to cool down quicker. It generally takes, when it's sat in cool water, anything from sort of 10 to 15 minutes for our lye to cool down. We're not using much today, so I imagine it'll be around about 10 minutes until this is at the correct temperature. which for today's recipe is going to be around about 115 degrees Fahrenheit. So we are just going to leave this by itself now to cool down until it is down at 115 Fahrenheit. So I have cleaned down now, the lye is well out of the way, everything is clean and tidy, so I have degloved and de-goggled. So we now know how to prepare safely a jug of lye for use in soap making. So we are getting there, and in tomorrow's video we're going to be covering different kinds of oils that you can use in soap making. We're going to be covering the most common oils that are used in soap making, and we're also going to be introducing you to the recipe that we have created for you guys to make your first loaf of soap with on day 5. So we'll be introducing you, it is 3 oils in that recipe. We shall be introducing you to them and letting you know why we have chosen them. So that's to look forward to tomorrow. Join us for day 3 of our Soap Making for Beginners mini-series. If you like our videos, please give us a like, give us a subscribe. If you've got any questions so far, please do pop them in the comments box, because the chances are if you've got a question, somebody else has got that same question in their mind too. So ask away, I will do my best to answer your questions, and I shall see you guys tomorrow for day 3 of the Soap Making for Beginners mini-series. Bye!